You just addressed it, I think, a little bit, but can you talk a little bit more about the guilt a cancer survivor feels when, I know for myself, at the end of the day is usually when I need most care because I've been home alone all day. I need someone to give me something nourishing to eat, just to talk to me, because I haven't, I've talked to the television all day.
Mm-hmm.
And then my husband comes home from working a difficult physical job, and I feel like I don't want to ask him, or, when he says, how is today? How are you doing today? And I want to say, oh, I'm fine, and when obviously I'm not.
Right.
But I don't want to burden him
Mm-hmm.
with more of what he needs to do for me.
Mm-hmm. It's just such a huge, you just bring up all these really important points. It is a huge deal and burden is the word that I hear a lot when I talk to people, is I don't want to burden my family. And I don't know how to tell you to get rid of that. It's a burden for the patient to cope with this day in, day out, 24/7, and then to have the humility and whatever, to ask for help. It is really hard. I know it is. And sometimes the way I talk to people about it is, let's just turn the tables and what have you done for people in your life? And of course, most of us are all out there helping anybody, doing anything we can, and would just go over the top and make it work for our loved ones. But again, when you turn that around and it's us asking and receiving, it's just so, so very difficult. I had a real learning curve about that, and I can speak personally to it because one of my dearest friends died. And I ended up being one of her caregivers and one of her primary people throughout the whole illness. And I realized not that my energy was limitless, but I couldn't believe the places I pulled from within to be able to help her kids, to provide actual hands-on care, to run errands, to go with her to doctor appointments and sort of be her ears, all those kinds of things. It was amazing. I don't think I could have done it on a super long-term basis, but I did it as I needed to for quite a while. And so knowing, I had preached that, let your family give you that gift of care. But then I experienced it, and I realized how important it was to me to be able to do that for Mary. It was healing for me to be able to do that for her. I did not want to stand by the sideline and just watch or whatever. She was very good at asking for help. She was a healthy-minded person, and that helped all of us. So I guess that's the lesson in it, is just trying to take the focus away from how it makes us feel a little bit to how it makes our caregivers feel to be able to do that. That said, I've also talked about the exhaustion of being a caregiver, but it's sort of a different kind of exhaustion, and it's not the kind that you resent so much as just, I've just got a lot on my plate. So I don't know if that really answers your question, but I don't know that anyone's ever been able to really answer questions about guilt and self-blame and those types of things. We just do what we can. And when people come to us and ask, what do you need? Again, and you've heard this earlier too, it's what does my caregiver need? And sometimes I think instead of expecting that we should come up with a list, it's helpful to just convey, you know what, do whatever's in your spirit. You want to bring me dinner some night? Just bring me dinner some night. You want to surprise me with a bag of groceries? Go ahead. You want a shovel? Just come. Don't ask, because I'm going to tell you no. So if we have the strength to be able to do that, to just say, really don't, I'm not going to be very good at parceling out a task. Just use your imagination, do how the Spirit moves you, and do what you think you can for me. All of it helps. It's not just these monumental projects. It's little gifts along the way, little things that our loved ones do for us that are really quite helpful.
But I don't think Jeane-Marie's giving herself credit, because what she does is she finds resources that are out there.
Oh yeah, well that too.
So is there a group that can help you clean? She can help find some of those things that takes the daily burden off.
And I don't think patients understand there's resources in your clinics that have connections out there that you never knew were there. You know, there's a resource that delivers groceries depending on where you are in the metro area. There's a resource that can come out and help you clean. Those are daily tasks that maybe you feel you're responsible for, and it's laying on your caregiver, and that if you talk to Jeane-Marie or talk to our social workers, talk to myself, we might go, hey, there's something that temporarily could offer some resources for you, okay? Because I hear kind of some of those pieces is I want some of that burden off my caregiver.
Thank you. That's a big part of my job, and I forgot to say it. And I will say, Minnesota Oncology is very unique in that they have a Michelle and they have a Jean. Most cancer practices don't. And so the person, your go-to person, is the hospital social worker. And when I was in the hospital, we used to get a lot of calls from the community of people just, where do I even start? You know, and hospital social workers have dealt with lots of different illnesses, lots all over the communities, and they're Sherlock Holmes, you know, they just know how to find things. So that's just it's a one-stop shop sometimes. I told Jake I often think of myself as Scarecrow in The Wizard of Oz. I'm just standing on the road, and I tell people, if you just don't know where to start, go ahead and start with me, because, you know, I've just got this whole network of people out there, and I can get you to Michelle, or I can, you know, I can ask your doctor, or I can get you to a community resource, or I can get you to the Open Arms program, which is free food. They bring you groceries once a week, some of it prepared to take some of the relief, or to give relief to the caregiver and to the person, because food is a big deal. Buying the food, cooking the food, eating the food, cleaning up after the food, just taking that burden away is huge for a lot of people. So, you know, if you can find a social worker, it is a good place to start.
One of the things we'll be talking about later is an idea of what's called saints with patience. And patience is spelled with a TS, not with a CE. And it's along the same lines that if we were working within churches or organizations, there's cancer support groups like the one that we have here at our church. There's 30 or 40 people that are very active, and they do different things. Well, we'd like to organize that amongst a number of different churches or organizations in the community to do yard work. You know, to be a handyman around the house, to shovel snow, mow the lawn, fix a door jamb, whatever it may be, that a lot of times gets put behind the scenes and you put it off because it's not an immediate issue. So one of the things that I want to do is work with Minnesota Oncology to understand what's out there and what isn't out there. We'll look at how to do that with people in our community that would just love to get involved, you know, with a helping hand. So we'll talk about that as a next step at the end of the day. Any other questions?
Yeah.
I'd like to know more about,
Just 1 second.
Oh.
I have a loud voice.
No, we're picking it up on the sound for our video. So we'd like you to speak through it.
I don't know who to go to. My sister lives in Bloomington, and I'm in Burnsville. She wants to go to church at Berean, but it's pretty hard for me. I've been doing it once in a while, but to go to Bloomington, pick her up, bring her back to Berean, go to church, and then back to Bloomington.
Mm-hmm.
And who do I ask if there's anybody in Bloomington from the church that can do this?
Well, I'd just start with the church office, you know. I can't imagine that that'd be a big deal. I'm hoping that that there would be parishioners pretty giving about that. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't have to live in Bloomington. The thing is, you're doing it all the time. But if you find a couple of parishioners that share it with you, they're not doing it every single week. So it may not even, you know, it may not be that someone has to have a convenient location. It just may be something that they feel that they want to give and they want to do and help out.
I could go to the 9:30 service, but that's, I want to go to the 8:30, and so does she, so that puts it pretty early to get us started.
Yeah.
Well, we could talk about that after as well, as
Yeah.
far as ways to do that from our church here. The idea is there's a lot of people that have great hearts that want to help, but we haven't organized them in a way where it becomes something that you don't have to do every day for 5 years or once a month. It may be something that a group would do for once every quarter or once a year. You know, it's like a Habitat Humanity type thing where it's not something that's ongoing, but there's 390 churches in the Twin Cities. There's a lot of local agencies and community groups that, as we organize this and say, here's the need, can you help us? Then we'll organize it in a manner of who's willing to help.
It's just, you know, it's getting that question out there, I think, the first time, and that's what I do a lot, because sometimes I don't know either, you know, and I just start asking, and then I get, well, call so-and-so or so, and the network just starts. It just grows and grows and grows. All you have to do is get that question out there the very first time, and it's remarkable to me how people will just, they know people who know people, and so I think in a church community, which is pretty, what am I trying to say? I mean, it's, what?
Connected?
Yeah. It's just not going to be that, hopefully not that hard. It's just asking that question. It's just getting it out there.